Welcome everyone to First Among Equals podcast. This is Lonnie and I'm here with the most amazing DJ, Flaca Lee.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for having me.
I love it. I'm so excited to have you. You're actually my first guest.
What an honor.
Thank
and
you.
it's such a joy to be here right now and
Thank
see
you.
your space and just listening to the pitter patter
of rain.
Beautiful rain.
Yeah, this is so not California.
I know.
Like for this long, I feel like the weather's been not this extreme
It's
for a
changing.
while. I love it. Mm-hmm. I think it's going with kind of the energy flow that we've been having. I've been having lately. So I really wanted to have you because, first of all, you're a female, you're a DJ, and I just have so much more respect for that.
Mm-hmm, thank you.
Because, you know, I'm a vinyl DJ too,
Yes.
and it's just seeing you be so, hustle so hard. And I know how that can be really challenging when you're trying to do that and like pay the bills and be so many other people. So I just wanted to say thank you for coming, and I'm really excited.
Thank you. I appreciate the acknowledgement.
Yes, of course. So you had an event last night. How was that?
It was dope. It's Long Beach is such a unique town.
Absolutely.
And the type of crowd that comes to Mescalero is different than what I'm used to DJing for. And they're really open. Sometimes each event is a different crowd of people, but my DJ partner for that event and I get to spin different genres. That's more tropical.
Dude, I saw that. I was
Yes.
like, oh, I couldn't go, but I was like,
No,
I'm gonna go because
you have to come
tropical
next time.
is my whole jam lately, and that's kind of why I wanted to hit you up too. Is like I always want to know what's like going on, what's cracking more current, and I feel like what I love about your music is from the stuff that I have heard over and over again. It's like you have a very low. It's like you put in like a lot of Dirty South. You put like a lot of Timberland type beats. Like the hip hop that you put is like very chill a lot of times. I've heard you play a lot more commercial things.
You have.
But I really loved, like, I was going to bring up that one. Remember I asked you to send it to me. It was Missives to No.
Yes.
And I wanted
Missive
one.
to No
Missive
One.
to No One.
Uh-huh.
And I love that because it was just such an amazing... It's just like the beginning of it is just like instrumentals and just like... And it's a lot trappier because I think at that time, trappy kind of hip-hop... But I don't know. It's like hard to say. It was like there were not
ambient or ambient. I don't even know
That's
how
exactly
else to
what
describe
it is.
Yeah,
Trappy
I don't get a chance to DJ that style of music to people. So it made sense for me to record it because
that makes sense.
I mean, it didn't really.
Of course, I'm the one that would like that, right? 'Cause it's like weird.
They're very great recordings.
Yeah, we were checking them out and we really enjoyed. I mean, he was just digging them. He's like me. We're very similar in our. He's younger than me, so I forced him. I forced a lot of music to
He's
him.
influenced a lot by your taste, yeah.
But you know, I think a lot of it too. Like you just have this like grimy. I don't even know how to explain it. Like grimy Long Beachy kind of weird. It's just dope. It's like very Long Beach. Is the only way I can describe. It's a certain style of California. You know, because of my company, West Coast Boroughs, it's like I can specify kind of where people are from locally.
Yeah.
Based on how we grew up. I just thought that sound is just such a significant thing.
I call it, I oftentimes will call it like stoner beats too. I'm sure you've heard it called that way too.
Yeah, totally.
There's so many different ways to name that style of music, but stoner beats, lo-fi, ambient, but then like
lo-fi.
bassy and trappy for sure. Trap is such a wide range.
I love the different variations of trap.
Me too.
You know, my friend was actually, we were having not an argument, it's more like a debate about reggaeton versus, you know, trap, like Spanish trap, and just the specifics, because people will call certain music reggaeton,
right?
And it's not anymore. It's like turned into this
like
Spanish
pop.
It's like J Balvin and certain people I feel like have already crossed over because of Diplo and because of just the whole like that whole scene, Major Lazer. I think all that stuff kind of pushed into like what you're talking about, your work, what you're doing now, the tropical music, kind of the mashups, like the fusion. Some of that fusion shit is so fire right now. Like I'm just like excited. So what were you spinning last night?
So last night it was a mixture of classic hip hop and definitely reggaeton and some mumbaton.
Oh my god, mumbaton is
dance
my life.
hall.
Yeah, that's what's
Gosh, what else? Like raga cumbia and it's just but there were a lot of we would spin a lot of like classic hip hop songs that were remixed with like
You've been doing the cumbia,
yeah,
the cumbia
exactly,
beats. That's like
exactly.
the thing now.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, and then the dynamic between myself and my DJ partner, his name is, he goes by Eusebio Acasa. He's amazing, super skilled, talented turntablist and musician, and he brings a lot of the Latin tropical vibes to the table, and I'll bring a lot of like, actually, I was gonna say I bring a lot of like the Afrobeat, but then he also has a lot too. So we're just like a really great combination of styles, and it's very all encompassing, from like South America to the Caribbeans to Africa.
I love
like,
it.
Style. It's amazing, and I'm starting to learn more about that style of music, and I'm just digging for it.
Yeah, me too. The Afro soca, all that right now with me.
It's poppin'.
That was DeVito, and just like these really good, legit, just that Afro beat, the Caribbean and all that. I play that all the time now. It's just it's so positive. It's like I feel right now the frequency of just like the country in general. I feel like there's just like a low frequency. I feel like I'm seeing a lot of people that are like depressed and unhappy, and a lot of the movies that are coming out are really sorrowful.
Yeah.
People are just like mourning. I feel like they're mourning the country's just hurt.
You and I are gonna have to get into this rabbit hole of that conversation.
We can, dude. Forever.
Yeah, because I totally have my perspective on where the country's at and where the world is shifting to and where humanity is shifting to. But if you want to talk about that later, we can we can finish this conversation about music first.
Totally, no, I love that. I mean, we can totally get there. I think I agree with you. So I guess to sort of go straight to it is, I feel like that kind of music is just so alleviating and so like brings your heart up. And I think it's maybe the necessity of coming from another country and hearing it from another person's perspective that's not in this sort of curtain. I feel like there's this brain of Animal Farm, weird, controlling, Big Brother, weird thing that I'm struggling with now as a society. So hearing Caribbean beats and stuff, it's just it frees my soul.
It's rhythm for the soul.
Absolutely. It really is. So go for it. Let's do the rabbit hole of what you think.
Because
I think we're very much on the same.
I think so too. I think our consciousness is very much in alignment, and there's a reason why you were called to having me. And there's a reason why we're.
Well, I'll tell you that after. Just because you're awesome, but yeah.
So I've been. I don't know if I want to say I've been learning or I've just been researching on the spiritual conversation of where our country is at and where the world is at and where humanity is at. And I totally empathize and understand the sadness, the depression, the frustration, I guess experience of like, is this really where we're at?
Yeah.
With
Absolutely.
our country's leader and just where humanity is going in regards to respecting Mother Earth and respecting technology and respecting one another. And I've always been really interested in spiritual teachers, I guess would be, I don't think it's an accurate term, but it's the best word to use right now. And Drinvalo Melchizedek is one of them. Are you aware of this person? He's around like 78 years old, and he's a mathematician. He came out with a book in around 2007 called The Flower of Life, and it's all around sacred geometry, and it talks about math. It talks about math, but not like man-made math. It talks about God-made math, and and how all of life comes from the Fibonacci sequence and the golden mean and blah blah blah. So I'm not a mathematician, so a lot of this stuff is foreign to me. But so this guy, he basically travels the world, and he works with the Mayans. He works with the Aborigines. Yes, and he works with several different, like even Polynesian tribes and natives, just the people who are attuned to a different frequency,
more connected to
than like people in America or people in Europe and so forth. And he has a specific life purpose, and that is to really understand where our consciousness is and where we're going. And there's so many different tangents I can go, but I'm going to stay focused here.
It's hard. I know it's hard.
Yes. So
wait. So would you say the math that you're talking about kind of breaks out into, because this is off what you said is like sounds and like reverberations in the world, and how like I don't even know, like we're gonna have to look at this later. I'm not that smart.
Yes, you are.
You know what I mean, though.
Yes, I get it.
It's a whole realm that I think I'm like you. I'm kind of getting into.
Get math.
Yes, thank you. But we know that variations of math are just connected to so many things. Well, it's connected to everything. Math is everything. It really is. And so I saw something like, it was like YouTube or whatever. It was like the sound tones, like where you know, like the sand, and like they have like you hit a tone and like the sand changes and creates these patterns. Yeah, it's kind of what you're talking about. It's just like
totally. Well, everything is energy. Yes. Everything is energy, and there's an alchemy to energy, and it's using frequencies and using and different things have different frequencies. And I got really interested in learning about energy. I'm not a master at it by any means, but I've been like researching and just curious about it, and I learned like, for example, if you have a skin condition, there is a specific stone that has the same frequency as healthy skin. And when you are actually carrying it or, around it, it actually balances the frequency of the skin condition back to a healthy skin condition. Wow. So that's just one example of how energetic alchemy is real. And
it's like sound therapy even too.
Absolutely.
Clearing
Sound,
your space,
we have so many resources to heal ourselves or to just do anything, really, create magic. But we, as a society, I think we definitely forgotten, and we've instead used a lot of man-made chemicals.
Pharmaceuticals.
It's really, the pharmaceutical industry is created by marketing. It's all marketing. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying that it just doesn't work for what humanity's consciousness was originally meant for.
Absolutely.
And so back to what I was talking about with Drunvalo Melchizedek. He is like a very respected, knowledgeable mathematician and teacher. And I was recently watching several interviews with him, talking to other people who are also either mathematicians or spiritual masters and so forth. And he was talking about there was a conversation about where our country's at right now, and that it was meant to be, we were meant to be in this state.
I agree with that too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's like we have to. Not we have to, but it makes sense that we are in a state of like of
disarray.
Like, yeah, and things are chaos. Just gonna dismantle and
which is
fall apart. Yeah, so there has to be something has to fall apart for us to rebuild it.
Relook at it in a new.
Totally, and that's where we're headed. We're literally going to be headed in a direction of where something catastrophic, maybe catastrophic is too much of a significant word, but something has to fall apart so that everything that the world and society as we know it is not going to matter. Material wealth is not going to matter. Success is not, as we know it is not going to matter. Careers as we know it is not really going to matter, because what's going to happen is we as a human race, we're actually gonna have to work together and rebuild the world.
Absolutely.
And we're actually gonna get attuned to new technologies. And And one technology that Drunvalo Melchizedek mentioned, and I'm curious about it because I don't know very much, is called the Merkaba. And Merkaba is a technology that was born from the city of Atlantis.
Okay.
And it is a powerful technology, and we each of us have it. I think
like
have access to it, and
like in ourselves.
Yeah, it's like to protect ourselves. Merkaba. Merkaba is literally a Hebrew word for vehicle.
Okay.
And anyway,
cool.
I'm just bringing this up because it's something that I just started learning about.
That's amazing.
And a lot of energy workers and healers speak on visualizing Merkabas and programming it to protect you from negative energy or other unknown energies that will attach and not serve you.
And then recognizing it, right?
Yeah.
Like self-recognition of the energy that's attached to you, maybe?
And some people are, and a lot of times we're not aware that these attachments are in our space.
Yeah.
And so there's several ways to work with that. One is through meditation and through visualizing being cleansed and and asking
the universe
and our angels or whatever's
your representation of that, that light.
Release
disassociate
them. Totally. And another way is going to energy workers who are skilled in releasing energy or attachments, and so there's ways to work around it. And so I realized I just went into another tangent.
No, it's cool. I'm like, let's go
back to the state of our country and to where humanity is going. Drunvalo Melchizedek speaks on the Mayan prophecies a lot.
That's what's up.
I know, right?
I love it. Okay.
And he does speak on part of the there's a huge part of the prophecy that was never revealed to us until recently, and the reason why it was never revealed was they feared that we would be like, oh my God, we wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, like we wouldn't take it in.
And then all the other prophecies before that we wouldn't take heed to it, or we wouldn't take it seriously. And basically we're saying we weren't ready to hear it. But because so we obviously know, especially as females, know that there is a huge polarity shift with the masculine energy and feminine energy, and it's time for it's already happened, but
it's happening.
The feminine, it's going to be largely feminine energy, and
yes, AOC.
Yeah, it's an incredible time.
It is. It's a time of renewal.
And so we see leaders like Trump, who is a male figure, male leader. We're basically he's going to be one of our access to having women just take over. Or female energy, I should say.
He's pushing it. He's pushing us to this degree that I feel like when we were kids, used to read about civil rights in books, and came to the realization in the last few years that we are the next chapter of what we need to make happen. And in 40, 50 years, we're going to be reading about what happened to us and what we did as women even. And all the things that are the disruption that's happening. And sort of when I watch movies and stuff, you see the civil rights, we got to do this. The same thing. It's we got to get up and do this now. This is our time to advocate.
Yeah, sorry, keep going.
No, I agree. Go ahead.
I was just saying he's literally building a platform for us. He's making it so easy. It's not just him. It's other world leaders, other men in places of massive power.
Yeah. All the dictators, the dictatorship. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong. It's just a mere
change.
Exactly. And it's really now it's time for us to really do what we're supposed to do for the world. And so women or feminine energy is going to really move this shift forward in a huge way, and then also our consciousness is
Elevating.
totally elevating. It's been ascending since the late 90s, according to Junvalo and many other spiritual practitioners, and through conversations with these native people and ancient native tribes. And oh my god, I've never seen a spider like that before.
Oh, how cool. It's all light.
It's very beautiful. I'm not going to mess with you. You can hang out with us.
It's all good. It's awesome. Oh my gosh, we have to look that up and see what does that mean right now.
I know,
That's so
totally.
neat.
Oh girl, last night I had a dream. Sorry, another tangent.
Go.
Last night I had a dream.
Yeah.
I always have dreams about water and about tidal waves. I always have
You
that.
remember your
And
dreams?
yes, always.
So bad at that.
And part of my dream was I was with my family and we were taking care of a red bird, and I was looking up red bird on my way here, like, what does it mean? And it totally did not resonate. So I don't believe that the meaning behind it was true, but it was talking about like freedom and transcendence through means of violence. And I'm like,
oh, because it's red.
no,
I get it.
just because red, no.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
that's not what I got from it. Or it was like, I was saying I'm getting away. I'm like experiencing freedom by through other people's suffering. Or something like that.
Wow. No.
I don't think that's true. So,
But the bird, I mean, that's always significant in like dreams and stuff. I think I do agree. I mean, we're on the same track. I feel like, you know, you were talking about Trump coming in office, and I remember just being so broken for such a long time about it. And then I think it was last year I read something. It was like looking at it as it's not a good thing. I'm trying not to put like good or bad on anything.
right, because it's really in
It's a judgment, you know, it's like
world there is no right or wrong,
absolutely.
no morality. It's a meaning that
It's energy
humans
flow.
make.
Yeah, and so that's kind of where I'm at. But I also like that we do have a positive shift in the way that we're perceiving the changes in the world, because, you know, there was a long time where I allowed what was happening around us really, I just took it in like a sponge. It was like that first year he was in office. It was I was just like fight, and anger.
Oh
and,
yeah, I was totally at the effect of it.
It's a trip. And it's so funny because even, you know how like Facebook will give you your memories every like this time last year, and it's like all last year it shares every single day, and every single day I'm reposting like the Women's March, and you know what I mean, like how do we get rid of this man, and impeachment process, and just the amount of frustration, and just I was just in such a space.
Yeah, I mean, my birthday's on November 8th, which is
really
election day. And the night that Trump was elected, none of my friends came out. I had two homegirls who were so gracious and down to like hang out with me. But when we went to the bar, there was nobody at the bar.
Yeah.
Everyone was just depressed, or definitely everybody was talking about the election. And there was a lot of anger and a lot of like heaviness. And at first I was like, man, this sucks. Like I want to enjoy and celebrate my birthday. I get what's going on, and I really just wanted to celebrate my birthday. I was so ready for it, and I honestly did not think that he was gonna win. I really thought leading up to that day, Clinton was gonna win.
Yeah, we're in a bubble though, man. And you know what? I'm gonna make a good point about that too. Is I just realized that I needed to check myself, because as much as I get super judgy, I realized my perceptions of Middle America. I realized my perceptions of what I considered people that I didn't associate with, not because, I mean, they're just very different than me, but I realized that I did have very specific negative views of other people, and it made me think, you know, the way that certain other people, like Middle America, certain specific people would describe us as you know, California bubble, even just the coast, the two coasts, New York, all of us, how much more we look down on them, and how hillbillies and blah blah blah. And they're right. I didn't realize that we were so divided, and I didn't think, I was so angry at them, and you know, the whole white privilege thing. And I'm just realizing that everybody has their struggle, and that they are allowed their struggle. Everyone suffers, and I need to validate the stuff that they go through, because there's a lot of stuff that I'm not, you know, I don't have to deal with either. And that I'm very blessed. I'm really glad that I am where I am, but I did have to like look at myself in the mirror and really reflect on the things I need to work on. And then it's like, I can't hear them if I'm too busy judging them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So it's like taking the mask off and saying, okay, I'm trying to be more willing to hear what they have to say and just like accepting it with no judgment. And that's kind of where I am now, where I'm trying to hear and understand that.
That's such a great place to be.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, when the year that Trump was elected, I was definitely not in the same spiritual space I am now, because I was totally into judging, evaluating, assessing, and making everyone wrong. And being on my like high mighty what's it called, like righteousness horse, just riding around on that horse, like I'm strong. Right, you're wrong.
Yeah. Mad at all. I was really mad at all the women.
Oh yeah, I know.
The grabbing by the pussy
totally,
and all that, and the women were still okay with that. I think that's where I still struggle with kind of women.
I still can't wrap my head around that.
Me neither. That's where I go, because I'm such a feminist, and I didn't realize how much of a feminist I was. Like, I remember in the 90s, it's just like, I didn't think about fighting for things. I wasn't political. I wasn't, and we were younger, of course. I mean, we were in our 20s or whatever, and you just didn't think about stuff like that. You didn't have to. It was like, life was good.
It was a good time.
It was. Yeah. But now I feel so like, if people don't vote, I get all weird, and that's when I have to let that go too.
Yeah.
Because then it's all then I've gone through my phases of like, well, why are we voting? What does it even matter?
Resignation. It's resignation. Totally. I full on went through resignation mode too. So I'm guilty of that, and I'm also guilty of judging people for not being in action. And you mentioned a word earlier, valid. When you were talking about like Middle America, and for me, something that I've come to learn, I participate in a lot of like personal development programs and leadership programs. I'm actually in a leadership program now, and I just learn a lot about communication on a way deeper level, like communication in a level that wasn't taught at in high school or whatever, you know? Or even in college, really. And I've learned. I've accepted that everyone's point of view is completely valid. It is their truth. It is their reality. And if they see, like, there's an example of like, here's a cup, right? And one person's standing here, one person's standing there. One person sees this side and they're like, it's smooth. And the other person sees this side and they're like, no, there's a handle. And this person is saying, no, it's smooth. No, it's a handle. There's a handle. And like both people's point of view is absolutely valid.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's just how I've come to accept other people's views and opinions. That, like, even extreme views and opinions, if that is what they believe, then that's their truth. It's not my truth, but it's, and then with that, I've actually been able to let go of like needing to prove something or
be right.
Yeah,
dude.
Totally. Thanks for completing that sentence. That was perfect.
No, I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
I think I like you. Like, I want to know about what you're doing leadership wise, but I work at a school, right? I'm a guidance counselor, and I'm all constantly trying to help kids self-regulate and understand that it's not about being right.
Yeah.
It's not what it's about.
Yeah, it doesn't move anything forward,
no.
By the way. It's like getting angry or upset. It doesn't move anything forward.
No, and if anything, there's always a win-lose. It's like someone feels better because they're right, and then the other person feels wronged, and then they feel badly, and then you basically just like impose yourself, which is kind of what we talk about at the country. It's like, we just want to be right, they want to be right. And it's just on this other level of, like you said, elevating the way that we think and the way that we handle situations.
Totally, because instead of like win or lose, like just like what I have on my knuckles, sink or swim, instead of having these two polarities, there actually is a way where everyone wins.
Absolutely,
everyone wins, and we just it's a matter of thinking outside the box.
It's creative. It's releasing the ego.
Totally,
that's what
getting out of our own way, and that's actually a huge. A takeaway for me in the leadership program that I've been in.
What's up with that?
Really learning how to get out of my own way in communication. It's
What's awesome.
It is has been probably one of the most impactful courses that I've put myself in. So have you ever heard of Landmark?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Oh wow, yeah.
Anyway, I started out my friend, a friend that I really respect, admire, because he's just always passionate about self-improving, and he's also finding ways. He's like a maverick when it comes to like, I want to say like with business or just with like making himself successful. And I was really, I was in a really dark place, I think, and he introduced the work to me because he just thought that like it was gonna fix my situation, which is actually probably in hindsight the wrong angle for him to take. But yeah, it got me in because they sell transformational programs, seminars, courses. That's what they do. They're in the business of transformation, and it's using a methodology, intellectual methodology. So I took what they call as the landmark forum. That's like the first course that you take, and then they have a whole curriculum. They also have another separate department, which is like the communications department. And another friend of mine, so I have to say my experience with the forum was not so great. Like, in my opinion, it wasn't great because I was not set up to like come in like open-minded.
Okay.
I came in with a closed mind with like, I'm only here because my friend's paying for this course.
Oh, wow.
Which was like,
that's love,
like I said, that's what I mean. Like in hindsight, it was not the right angle because he was like, come on, I know you're in this bad space. This made a difference for me. But he like, I'm going to pay for you because you're so resisting
that's
this.
Dope, though.
But yeah, I mean, there was no other way. Other than him. There was no other way. Honestly, I think him stepping in and getting me into like the forum changed my life, and it also saved my life because I was in a total hell-bent path of self-destruction.
Been there.
Yeah. So to make a long story short, I heard about the communications program, and I was like, I would love to improve my communication skills. And this is when social media just really started to like spike up, and I just noticed that my ability to connect with people was in a place where I wasn't satisfied. So I took the communications course, and I came out of, there is a 2-part course. I came out of the first one like, I didn't really get that, so I'm going to take the second course. And I took the second course, and I was like, I didn't really get that, but it makes a lot of sense. And a one weekend of being immersed in this course and having all these tools and distinctions thrown at me is not enough. I felt like I needed to like find a way to put it into practice.
Yeah. Like real life experience.
Yeah. Like how do I apply this in my everyday experience? Because like literally going to the course for one weekend and coming back into the real life, like I don't know what to do with all this stuff.
Totally.
And so out of the first 2 communication courses, then is a year-long program called the Team Management and Leadership Program. Through it's a communications course, and it's all about leadership and team building. And it's using communication as the access instead of it's using strategies and strategies through communication. And I thought
is communication like home base, and then you kind of branch out.
It is home base, yeah. And then actually, one of the communication course leaders put it perfectly. She said, "Communication is love. When there's no communication, there's no love." And I was like, "Whoa,
wow.
Mind blown."
Mind blown.
Yeah, makes so much sense, right? And so I mean, even though I didn't get a lot of the stuff, my head had such a hard time wrapping around like all these concepts and methods, and I know I wasn't the only one. But I was seeing people create these massive relationship breakthroughs, either with their families or business partners, reconnecting with, people that they've haven't spoken to in 20 years, even like really making peace with people who have really traumatically harmed them, whether it was through violence or whether it was through sexual abuse or whatever, right? And the thing is, what I actually saw it as, oh my God, on a spiritual level, because it's not a spiritual course. It's really not. It's purely methodology, but on a spiritual level, I saw what it was doing to like the energy in these people's lives, and
because that's how you were taking it.
Yeah, and like the environment that they were in, and how they're literally changing the energy and the frequency of their environment through creating whatever breakthroughs they were creating, and bringing love and affinity to all relationships. And it doesn't mean that they like having them make peace with people who have hurt them or people that they've hurt, create a new relationship, although some people have created new relationships. It just means saying, I forgive you, thank you, I love you, goodbye.
Release
you know? Yeah, absolutely. So I thought that was magnificent. And even though I felt like I didn't get it, I was interested in learning more. So this team management leadership program was definitely the next step. And I committed myself to 1 full year, not knowing what the hell I was going to do to me, or what I had to do to make my life fit.
You're doing the work, girl.
Yeah.
It's doing the work.
And actually it's a 2-year program, but it's not like mandatory 2 years. The first year basically was utilizing everything I've learned in the 2 courses of the communication program throughout the entire year, and having a whole team of people. There were 100 of us. There's 100 of us. I think right now there's more than that, like 130. Just really empowering and supporting each other to really have these, apply these tools and distinctions, and have, each other create breakthroughs in business and whatever, in careers.
And however they would want to utilize it.
And so the first year went by, and it looked the way it looked. And then the second year, I started last February, and I'm actually completing my second year program in 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's super awesome. And I honestly can go for hours in sharing with you what was created in the first year and what was created in the second year, and what I accomplished and what I didn't accomplish. And
that's amazing.
But my main takeaway is that I've learned how to ground myself in communication, because who I was before any of this work was one of the 2 things that I shifted was communicating irresponsibly. And that was through either word of mouth or through social media. Mm-hmm. And another one was really not loving myself, obviously. That was the first and foremost thing in communication. And also just living like someone I'm not. Does that make sense? I was being totally inauthentic about who I am in this world, who I am as a woman, who I am as...
Was this through action or through mental sort of...
It's just...
It's like mental suppressiveness, mental sort of...
You mean like...
because you said you weren't living authentically to yourself, so how would you reflect on that? How did that...
I'll break it down in this way. So as my earliest memory is being like 3 years old, or almost 4 years old. And my mom, she flew me to Korea, and she had me live with my grandparents in the countryside for, I don't know, maybe almost a year. And this was right after she had my brother. And she left me there, and she went back home, and
it's the formative years.
Oh my God, yes.
That's the formative years.
I created my first point of view of myself.
First
point of view of myself
Based
was
on that
I'm not wanted, or
not worthy.
I'm not worthy,
Absolutely.
and the world is
scary.
Difficult, or I can't trust the world, or something like that, right?
Massive.
And there's other poignant times in my growing, in my youth, where I've created these point of views that just stuck throughout the rest of my life. And what happens in these communication courses is you actually you discover which point of views you've created and how they've been driving your
narrative.
Your
personal narrative.
Exactly. And it's not true, right? So that's what I mean by
it is if you
being
believe
inauthentic. Yeah.
It's changing your narrative.
So my inauthenticity was that I was pretending that I'm not a leader. I'm at the effect of my world. I'm a victim, or I'm not creative. I'm a fraud, or just these. Dude,
but that's artists. Artists have that whole fraud. I forgot what's it called. Where you live in fraud. There's actually a word for it, and I'm annoyed by it. It's where you always feel like you suck.
Yeah.
Everything you do sucks. Nothing is enough. it's hard to get away from that. I think as artists,
and I get that.
Way.
So it becomes a strong suit for a lot of artists because what happens is
it's what pushes them.
it drives and motivates,
Totally.
but that you don't have to have that be the source of that. It can actually shift to it's a more empowering context instead of a disempowering context. And so that basically in a nutshell, that's what I mean by like I've been living inauthentically. I've been living like pretending like I'm faking it till I make it, or I'm like I'm like selling myself as like this creative DJ, but I'm really not. That was the inauthenticity. It's not true. I am a creative DJ.
You are, and it's awesome. And being present. It's also being present and being
self-aware
and grateful.
Mm-hmm. Gratitude is the access to all miracles and all breakthroughs. Also, taking action you've never taken before also is an access to like just creating a breakthrough that you just never knew was possible. But this course changed my life because I really just got to see step by step where I was like getting in my own way and how I was giving communication to others, how I was receiving communication was colored through this point of view that's not true or real. So it's been, like I said, the most impactful self-development work. I loved self-development work. I love reading books. I'm into it. I'm into like, shit like Tony Robbins stuff, or whatever. It's fascinating to me. It doesn't mean I'm 100% enrolled in the ideas, but I'm interested in it because I see that it's making a difference. So I also didn't relate to myself as a leader. I actually created this story that leadership is not cool. That is not cool, and that I don't want that responsible. I don't want to be accountable. I don't want to be responsible.
That's major.
And it's okay, but at the same time, like, why would you want to live your life with no integrity? I also got a relationship to integrity. I'm like, I didn't really know. I kind of knew the definition of integrity, didn't really know what it meant in my life.
In application to yourself.
Yeah.
You're right, because they always use the word integrity and they like be this
It's
way.
a concept, but like you don't really get it.
In application, you don't really, as a student or as whatever, integrity is a really major heavy word, and there isn't any of like the things that you're talking about, the self-improvement, self-reflection. I mean, it's like you have to find that. It's never, these conversations I don't think are really, I think brought to us by adults who like look at that as a mentoring sort of that's so important. Know yourself, or try to want to know yourself before you start to attempt all these things. It's like if you know yourself and you feel good about yourself and you're empowered, then you're going to be able to succeed. And it's like what you said, it's like I feel like I was very successful because I'm a very social person, and I know a lot of people socially because I like to drink. And I like to drink because of all the shit that happened to me when I was 15 and when I was younger. And so it's like, even though it worked out, I went down this route that I didn't necessarily have to go down, which I'm grateful for my route, and it brought me to where I am now. But you look back and go, why did I do that? Oh, I know why. Because I was abandoned, or because this happened. And it's like that was my vice, because it was numbing me from having to like really look at what was going on in my life, because it would required me to be held accountable, to have integrity, to look at myself in self-love and self-care in a way that I've never understood. I never understood what self-love and self-care could really look like. And now I see the differences in opting not to do that one thing I always do when I get anxious. It's like, oh, okay, I want to go out and go have a quick drink. Let me go eat. Let me go buy some pizza. Like, I still do that once in a while, and I forgive myself for that. And
totally,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Say, just because you are
self-aware
doesn't mean you have to
man.
Be perfect.
For sure. But knowing, but self-recognizing, like, oh, snaps, this thing happened to me. What are these feelings I'm feeling? I have felt these before, and I've done something differently. And it's
disrupting patterns that don't serve you. So, man,
and celebrating
I got so much out of. I'm like, now that I'm looking back, I really did get a lot. And it might not have occurred to me as accomplishments, but they are major mental accomplishments for me, or intellectual accomplishments. Like really powerfully choosing instead of so everything is choice, and I get that I'm responsible for everything in my life, and being responsible doesn't mean that I'm at fault, because that's bringing morality to the situation. But like being the powerful creator of my life and taking responsibility for everything that takes place, even if when my car breaks down. I'm responsible for that. I created that.
Yeah.
And we can get into like that statement later, but my relationship to choice has definitely strengthened and improved through all of this work. And then there's just so many things.
I love
can't
it
remember.
because I feel like it's
all.
just the connection of his teachings. If you want to bring it back to
back to Drimbalo.
Yeah.
So actually, the leadership course and all this communication stuff
was sort of the
reason why it's so important is because it was actually like this program is really just learning how to build teams and learning how to manage things to completion. But what came out of it were all these other millions of golden nuggets, like all these self-realization things. And it's important because what happens is now you have access to your authenticity.
Absolutely.
And then which is like also your heart. And Drimbalo Melchizedek, among many other spiritual teachers, talk about living from the heart, and that is how our consciousness as a human race elevates, and how we actually bring our state of being to the next level. And I'm talking about the Mayan prophecy that was now recently revealed. So we've always known about the fourth dimension and
yes.
Fifth dimension and all that stuff. So we are full-on transitioning to the fourth dimension. However, because we are vibrating in the third dimensional plane, we don't see the fourth dimension. Some people actually do, and some people have been transcending. The access to all of this transcendence, ascendance, whatever, is really opening your heart. And what that looks like is true unconditional love. True unconditional love to people who do us wrong, to systems that are wrong, or that we don't work.
That we perceive as
that don't work. Yeah,
they don't work.
Yeah. And I've noticed that recently, I'm so aware that I am not open-hearted these days.
Word.
Especially
when you said that, I was like,
get in your car and drive through downtown, and you're gonna be close-hearted, like, for sure.
Yeah.
And I get so angry and upset, and I also right now for a living, and we can get into this later, but like I'm not designing anymore. I haven't been designing for a couple years.
This is a whole other Stella, by the way. This is a whole other girl we haven't even talked about.
I know.
I didn't even want to touch on that because she's got so much going on.
Oh my gosh. So we can talk about, like, I actually had a breakthrough in my relationship to myself as a designer through this leadership program, but we'll save that for another day. So I work at a restaurant and I serve, and I get so triggered by people and how they treat people who work at restaurants, and I totally get it now. Like I realize I've been such a jerk to people in the hospitality industry.
Interesting.
And you really expect people to cater to your every need at any waking moment, but I get the reason why a server does not touch your table for like 40 minutes. I get it now. Totally get it.
Yeah. So this is based on is it the recent acquisition of this job, or you've been a server?
I've been doing this for a year now.
Okay,
so actually, I wasn't even working as a server when I started working at the restaurant. It was I probably started working as a server in the last 5 months maybe.
Okay.
So this is new. I've never served before. I've worked in restaurant industry for like a long time ago, but I've never actually been a server. And I work with people who have really nasty attitudes, or will really try to destroy you and try to make you like lose your job and shit like that. And I've noticed my heart has gotten so closed and cold, and then like now I judge people like from the get-go. I'm like super mean. I'm just like not open-hearted.
I hear you.
And I'm just with the recent like learnings, I guess. I'm really seeing like, okay, this doesn't work, and I really want to raise my consciousness, and I want to be a contribution to the human race, elevating the consciousness. And I'm really I think being self-aware is my access to disrupting that pattern and changing it.
That's awesome.
I haven't gotten to the point where I'm like unconditionally being loving.
It's hard though.
But I'm gonna get there.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that whole zen of like everything is nothing and nothing really matters in the end is a really, you know, when you reach that, just that level of just being able to like water off a duck's back.
Not
like,
being, not
just
resisting.
Let it phase you. Yeah. Not resisting.
So it's so ironic that the 2 communication courses I took before the leadership program, that the promised outcomes of these 2 communication courses was that I can be with any communication.
Wow.
And that I will not be affected or be at the impact of any communication.
Messages.
Right. Yeah. So I actually have the tools and the ability to like not be affected. And I'm getting that I'm choosing not to use these tools and distinctions. I get that I'm in these moments where I'm getting triggered. I am, there are moments where I'm like, take myself back, and disrupt the pattern. And there are moments where I'm like, no, I don't want to disrupt the pattern. I am committed to being angry right now, or I'm committed to being hurt, or I'm whatever. And,
interesting.
Yeah. So I'm noticing that like when I'm not choosing, it's just like some unprocessed emotion.
How do you, when you've made this decision, how do you decompress after that sort of episode, or how does that?
Okay. So let's create an example.
Maybe like at the restaurant.
Yeah.
Or...
So there. I'm like, which example do I choose? I'm just gonna choose a simple one. Like, okay, so like if a guest was unhappy with the service and they go behind my back and talk to the manager about like I didn't do this and I didn't do that, especially if they're exaggerated or they're straight up lies, and then I hear about it from the manager, it could ruin my day, right?
Absolutely.
And then there are several different actions I can take. One would be to literally just give it up. Just give it up. Give it up.
Surrender
and
it.
ongoingly give it up until it's just not in my space anymore.
See, that's cool. I didn't know about the ongoing. I'm like, I try to surrender the one time, and I'm like,
it's ongoing. No. It's self-generating. Life is a self-generated program, by the way. Like you have to just generate. No one else is going to generate for you. And so you're just ongoingly giving it up because it's disrupting.
It's not serving you, and you're like, it's not serving me. I have to release this.
Yeah, and it literally is on a neuropathic level disrupting the pattern, neuropathway. Yeah. And it's creating a new neuropathway. So that like next time a similar trigger takes place, it's going to go that way instead of this way.
Changing the synapses and your...
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Right? So there's that. There's another one where I could just be in communication about it with somebody that I know is going to like really get me and clear me. Or they don't even have to get me, just... Actually, no. I think it's important that I'm reaching out to somebody that gets me and that will clear me. And what I mean by clear is like they'll get what I experienced, and then when they like, so it's actually a distinction called recreation. When I'm going to call somebody that I know gets me and have them recreate me, and what they do is they recreate the emotion behind what happened.
They validate
the of what happened. They'll just basically like regenerate what happened, and then that simple act disappears the upset. It disappears the upset. It's magic.
You're absolutely right. I use that a lot.
Yeah. So that's
my way of using it, because I really have a hard time releasing within myself, and maybe that's something I need to work on. But I have one friend who I call her, and she's my confidant, and she's the one that knows me like no one else. And if I don't talk to her and I talk to someone else, this has recently happened, where she wasn't available and I reached out to someone else and they couldn't validate me in the same way, and their reaction even made my situation feel worse.
Totally.
And then I went, nope, can't do that with that person. And I realized that I can't, like, there's a path that needs to go, or I need to work on the first one you brought up.
Yeah, you can also set another person up to recreate you who's never recreated you before.
Just to see.
Yeah, you can do that. And this is also why I've noticed it's so important to have a community around me that is interested in empowering one another.
Yes, me too.
And, you know, to somebody who's never done that before, like recreated another person, you can teach them how to do it, you know, because all it really takes is for them to get what you experienced and the emotion behind it and how it really felt like to be in that situation. And then, you know, have them say, ask me if I've been recreated, whatever, you know?
Yeah, that's amazing.
And so...
Sorry, it's so amazing that you're saying that, because I feel like I have disruption with people in my life who don't know how to respect relationships and build and create these opportunities for us to evolve as a relationship.
Yeah.
And I think I was blessed to be able to build my community of people. I've always never, like, if I want to be alone, I can be alone, but I can always reach out, and I'm always constantly visiting my friends and hitting them up, to the point where I feel like if something ever happens, if I go through a breakup or I go through mourning or whatever, I have enough people in my tribe or whatever that I can go to them. But I know people who don't do that.
Yeah.
And then they reach out.
One of those people where I'm notorious for hiding out.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I'm like, amazing. It's so important that I'm in this program, because I actually don't actively create a community. I've been really lucky that the community just shows up. I'm super lucky that it just shows up. But what happens when
you though? I think there's a degree of you having to accept that is your energy brings that.
Totally.
It's not just miraculous.
I can't always just rely on like people just showing up without me, you know,
putting in work, putting in work with them.
I have to work on
watering your
keeping
plants,
keeping these relationships.
Absolutely.
I have noticed, especially in the last couple of years, because I've been hiding out, that like a lot of important relationships have fallen off or disconnected, or they've evolved into a different, like I've just lost that connection or the relatedness with them. Yeah. And like now it's like we're strangers again. Now we're strangers. There's nothing wrong with it, but I haven't been keeping that.
And then you have to kind of start it over again.
Totally. So important to have a community around you that really knows, is interested in empowering one another. And I think there's one other way when you're in a situation that you're triggered by. So giving things up, and then getting cleared. There's several ways, but those two are the most important ones that I use.
Those are amazing. And I can definitely, like I said, the second one is me. I really want to work on the one on myself, and I need to... I don't want to say should and need, and because that sort of creates this pressure that I have to do something. I just want to be ready to do it, and I'll do it. I know me. Once I've decided something, it just happens.
Yeah.
But definitely meditation.
Oh yeah.
I need to get there, and the universe, I feel like, has been giving me these messages that this is something I really need to start working on, because I know that I'll get to this other level.
And it should be effortless. So like meditation for me, I haven't really been practicing it. But I have a friend who's, you know, she meditates, and she introduced, and she was like, just try something new then. Just try something new until something sticks. I just got clear on what that other method is.
Tell me.
Because there's many, but these three are really strong for me.
I wanted the third one.
One of them is so the third one is separating the what so, or what happened, from the story you're making it mean.
So the narrative? Your narrative.
Separating it. Because we do this, and we're human. So humans are designed to make meaning out of everything. Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, that's just how we were designed. And sometimes it creates something beautiful, and sometimes it doesn't. So when I'm in a situation where I'm like, okay, so this lady talked some shit about me, and she said all this shit to my manager, and of course my manager had to like
do the shit back.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And maybe my manager was enrolled in what that lady said, and maybe she wasn't. But I was feeling upset because I was making that mean something about myself, and I was also upset because I feel like that lady just didn't get my commitment. She didn't get me, or she didn't understand that
she don't know my life.
Yeah, and also I was the only person working the whole restaurant because we were not staffed properly.
Yeah,
there was just not enough people. Yeah. And what I would do essentially with this third method or whatever is like, so what happened was this lady complained to my manager, and she said this. She said this, and this about the service and about me. And the meaning and the story I made it mean is that I'm a piece of shit, or
Whoa.
She didn't get me.
True though.
Like she's out to get me.
It's all extremo.
Yeah,
for sure.
Right? Like and I'm not loved.
Yeah.
She didn't
Rejection.
love me or like
Accept me.
right. And then I'm like, oh my god. So that's the story, and it's not true because what happened was what happened, and then you just like
Yeah.
and then you just literally mentally like disappear the upset because you realize that story was just a story. It's not what happened.
Well, and you make a good point because I've thought that sort of is my weird definition of what I try to do, which I didn't think about until you brought that story up, is it's not about me, it's about them. And it's their life. Like whatever they're doing, they're just reflecting their energy onto me too. And so if they're going through something, I don't know, they're like we've talked about, it's like that's their life, this is my life, and we have different stories, but it's not defining the story and making it some crazy Gone with the Wind, like Godfather.
Dramatic, like
this whole thing, this whole like crazy synopsis of something that's not even real. Like it's only real to us. Yeah, absolutely. Wow.
I know. Crazy.
Well, this is amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, I could go on forever.
I know, and I really love this. I actually want to briefly ask you a few questions, just stuff that because I feel like I've been watching you for a really long time and seeing all the amazing things. I actually wanted to see you at Subsuelo.
Yes,
I think it was the last Sunday. Dude, those are bananas.
I got so lucky that they invited me because it's hard to.
I know
you can be a badass DJ and there still won't be room for you to DJ.
I mean, they're so fucking fire. There's just they stack them up. I mean, there's at least. There's just so many DJs that hop on there, and I remember something had happened, and I saw that you were on it, and I saw it all late, and it's like Subsuelo is a day and a half. Like you get there early, you have to recover. It's like an event. It's like you feel like you've been transported to this like Cubano island. Like you're in Cuba. It's legit. It's a magical place. You ain't going anywhere else. Like that's where you're gonna stay. This is not the pre-party. This is the freaking party. So I saw that and I was like, oh my god, she's there. I was like, oh dude, I need to see her. And it was just so like, anyway. So
it was so dope because it's the kind of music I play at Mescalero, but
that's why
the crowd is there for that music versus the crowd is there for like the bar scene and drinking, and maybe some people will be there for the music. That's the difference between Mescalero and Subsuelo. And at Subsuelo, everyone was you can just see people like moving up and down because they're all fucking dancing and they're all like being so fully self-expressed.
They're so fully self-expressed.
Dude, just grinding and like even if you were there stag like by yourself, you're fucking grinding on somebody.
For
you know?
Sure. And there's no way you're not in the zone synergizing with all these people. It's just like so much love in that.
Dude,
community.
there was so much. I'm getting like goosebumps right now because I'm just reliving the experience of like finishing my set and getting like everyone patting me on the back and just fucking screaming and like just being so stoked about the set, and I'm like, this is why I DJ.
Yes. Okay, so bringing that in. So what would you say in terms of like why have you continuously kind of stayed on the DJ tip, the music tip? Like what are you trying to be first at in the sense of with what? I don't want to say what's your goal. I mean, intentionally, we've talked a lot about authenticity and intentions, but what do you think you're trying to be first at? Or this is the podcast based on first among equals, and I like that because it's equality. It's like, what are we trying to be the best at with what we do? So what would you say about that?
The intention has evolved from the beginning of my journey as a DJ. Let's see.
I know it's a super loaded question.
No, I mean, this is a great question because I mean, like, every DJ is present to their intention, you know?
And human. You know, I feel like we've had a really awesome bananas universal conversation, so it doesn't necessarily have to be geared towards the music. What you said really triggered me to ask that question to you right now.
And I think it's important. My intention first and foremost is that this is a creative self-expression, a form of self-expression for me. It's an outlet. Music opens my heart.
Oh, me too.
It opens my heart. And I live for the moments when I am connecting with the audience in a way that like lights them up, and that lights me up, and we're just like connected. And so those 3 reasons are why I DJ and why I've continued to DJ. Now my intention, it's interesting. It shifts from like survival based intention to like thriving based intentions, which they're 2 different worlds. The survival based is like I need to make a living, and so I need to, how do I create an event that's gonna have me make enough to pay this bill? Or I need to get another residency because this one's not working out. Or, and then there's the thriving based intention where it's like, I want to be connected with the community. I want to like build a community that has their heart open through music, and just being, for me, a channel of inspiration to others, especially those who don't have access to the music that I'm playing, or that just are hungry for like, just the music that I provide. And so I have yet to really distinguish, I guess, what my true intention is.
Well, I think you said it's ever presently changing, and right?
And I mean, I think I actually did say it. It's to create connection and open hearts through music, because I know there's a lot of people whose heart gets open through music. I mean, when you listen to music and you're brought to tears, that's when your heart is open. That's when that unconditional love is present. Also, a great way to meditate is when you actually focus on nice things that like open your heart. Maybe it might be kitties, puppies, baby turtles, I don't know. Or hip-hop. It might be like your grandmother.
I love it.
Or hip hop,
or
Dilla,
music, or
whatever.
Dilla,
right?
yeah. Thank you. It's Dilla Mud.
Yeah,
you make a good point.
So when you're meditating, just find ways to visualize things that open your heart, and there you go. Bada bing, bada boom. There's different types of meditations, different styles. There's styles where you just bring nothing,
Yeah.
But that's one way. Anyway, thank you for helping me really, truly distinguish my intention as a DJ, and that is to really connect with people and through and opening hearts.
Absolutely.
Through music.
Thank you. I'm so like amazed by you right now, Stella. You're amazing.
No, this is
like
beautiful.
One of the best conversations.
I know. I love.
I think you've elevated my energy definitely, and now I'm gonna have to look into a bunch of information. Thank you so much for coming.
Of course. One more thing. Sorry, before you.
Of course.
Say whatever you have to say. You know how I mentioned communication is love?
Yes.
Another wonderful takeaway from one of these courses is there's a practice where I'm sitting in front of one other person, and I say to this person, looking into their eyes, I am you, creating me, creating you, creating me. And then that person says the same thing. I am you, creating me, creating you, creating me. And that's literally who we are as a human race. We are reflections of each other. We are each other creating each other.
That's amazing.
I know, right?
It's so heavy, dude. I'm like, I need to like.
I know, and really, like what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna declare this right now. Is when I find myself in a situation where I'm like wanting to like curse at another driver or like make someone wrong, I'm gonna remember that I'm them creating me, creating you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Stella. Really quickly, where are you right now? What are there any new events? Are there new residencies that you want to plug right now?
So first Saturdays I'm at Kisara.
Awesome. Yeah. It's
called the Players Club.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. They changed it. I don't remember.
Yeah, I changed it because
you changed it. That's what
I changed it.
Okay, cool.
Yes, I changed it because you know why, right?
I know why.
Yeah.
Well, people don't know why. Actually, we should explain why.
I guess you're right. It was previously it was for 7.5 years called Bump and Grind, and based off an R. Kelly song.
Yeah.
Really, everybody, I've been in the know of like, the rumors about R. Kelly, but I actually didn't know the details. Yeah. And I actually saw the docuseries.
I haven't seen it yet.
I saw the docuseries. I probably saw like 2 episodes.
I don't even know. Like, I don't even need to.
I saw all of it, but I saw just really like the depth and gravity of what a criminal this guy is.
Yeah.
And I could not separate the artist from the art. I really just couldn't, as a female and also as a board member of a nonprofit called Peace Over Violence, which is an organization that empowers women and children who are survivors of violence and sexual abuse, human trafficking, all that stuff, right? This guy R. Kelly is a child rapist. Yeah. He's a brainwashing manipulator. Yeah. He is also he's a sick fuck. He literally fucking kidnaps people, but it's not in legal terms kidnapping. Yeah. Because there's consent, and it's through manipulation, through his power. Yeah.
And they're so young. It's like, how are you going to know that? Yeah.
And they don't know any better. And so they develop a codependent relationship with this guy, and they never want to leave.
Absolutely.
So anyway, Bump and Grind, each song has a story behind it, and they're told by
I didn't even know
the women
that.
survivors.
Oh my gosh.
For example, the song "You Are Not Alone" that he produced for Michael Jackson was about a 17-year-old girl he impregnated, and she was about to have an abortion. And he said that he was thinking of her when he created the song. The lyrics are about her. And he developed a relationship with her when she was like 15 or something. I can't remember exactly, but underage, clearly still a growing child. And Bump and Grind was, I forget around which time, but it was basically about his fantasy with having sex with 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds. Jeez. And I was like, I will not associate my event name with that.
Yeah, I know you would have never. I mean, it's just the
I have friends who are like, why did you change the name? Or like, or they'll make fun of the Mute R. Kelly hashtag. They'll make fun of it. So immature dudes, who just
they're not. Hopefully they get there.
Hopefully, but
some people don't.
And people. Maybe there have been a small percentage of people who have poked fun at it, but I know that for the most part, the community has really embraced it. Yeah. And there definitely was a fear that rebranding was going to change everything in a way we didn't want. And I have to say, my DJ partner for that event and I are actually considering ending the night.
Oh, really?
So 7.5 years has been a good run, and he's up to a lot of things in his life. Okay. And I'm up to a lot of different things. It just seems like it just feels like it's time to create something new in our lives. So absolutely. We have been in discussion, and I guess this is an unofficial announcement that the next one is going to be the last one. Oh, wow. So my first Saturday residency at Que Sera is like probably going to be the last one next month, March 2nd. Okay.
You guys gotta go check it out.
Yes, please do. Gosh. It's gonna be it's the last one. You gotta go. And then second Saturdays is at Mescalero in downtown Long Beach.
Yeah, I definitely gonna go to that one. Yeah, that's what's up.
I do a lot of guest DJ sets here and there, but currently there's no other residencies.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for coming. You can follow. You want to do your follow? Come on, your hashtag, your Instagram.
I am on all social media platforms as La Flaca Lee. That's LAFLACALEE, not like Waka Flocka. A lot of people think it spelled like that.
That's funny. That's a good point. Making good point. All right. Well, thank you so much again for coming.
Thank
it was such a pleasure for sure. And thank you for coming to First Among Equals. And I'm going to talk to you very soon.
Yes.
So, all right.
Let's connect. I live 8 minutes away from you.
Apparently. Yeah. So have a good day, you guys. And we'll check you later. Peace.
Peace.